Welcome to The Right Gun.
Welcome back to The Right Gun. And for those new to my channel, please like, subscribe, and share. Help me grow this channel and the community. Today we're going to be talking about micro nines. But we're not just going to be talking specifically about micro nines, we're going to be talking about their magazines. So, I've seen a couple of videos recently talking about the differences in the 43X versus the PSA Dagger micro magazines. So, I thought I'd do my own video, maybe give you a couple of different nuggets that weren't in those other videos. And then we are obviously going to talk about the Shield Arms S15 magazine for these platforms. And for good measure, we're going to throw in the metal magazine from Shadow Systems. We've got a CR920, which is more akin to the Glock 43 with an extended magazine, but we're going to throw that in there anyways. So hope you stay tuned. We're going to get into this. Okay, so very quickly, we will go over the magazines we'll be talking about. First, from left to right, you have the Shield Arms S15. You have a standard Glock 43X magazine. You have the PSA Dagger Micro 15-round hybrid magazine, which is metal and plastic on the front. And you have the Shadow Systems for the CR920. Now again, the Shadow Systems CR920 more akin to a Glock 43 with an extended magazine, but we will get to this guy a little later. But for the majority of the video, we are going to concentrate on these three magazines, the S15, Glock 43X Standard Mag, and the Palmetto State Arms PSA Dagger Micro. Let's start first with the Glock magazine and the S15 from Shield Arms. This was a game changer for the Glock 43X, making it really competitive with the, some would say, the Hellcat, and for sure the SIG P365, which had, I believe, doing this off memory, 13-round capacity in a very, very small compact package. So you have 10 rounds with the standard Glock polymer magazine. With Glock, what you see is what you get. I am a Glock fan, really like Glock. You cannot argue with their reliability and their quality. But the Glock magazine has, you can see it a little bit here, has a metal sleeve on the inside, and this allows for the bullets to ride freely as they are expended, and really reduces the failure rate, if you will, in the magazine, or caused by magazine misfeeding. So again, you know you're getting quality with Glock. The Shield Arms, the S15, had some initial quality problems. There's a young lady on YouTube. She used to be Armed and Styled. Now she goes by another name. Can't remember what that was. But she talked about and had several videos of the bottoms of these just exploding outwards. And other people have noted mechanical failures in this. But this was really a game changer, as I said, allowing the Glock 43X to compete in the Micro 9 market with more than just 10 rounds. Now, they did have originally a problem. By they, I mean Shield Arms had a problem when they made this. They just couldn't get it to fit. They could make it the same dimensions, but they couldn't figure out why it wasn't fitting. Enter the little ridge that they put on here. What they found is that after it would fire, it would fall out because it wasn't pressed forward enough to the hand grip. So they put this little ridge in here, and that made the dimensions just right, and voila, you have a staggered double stack, 15 rounds in the Glock 43X. Really a game changer, and brought the Glock 43X a little more notoriety. One more thing I will note about the Shield Arms versus the standard Glock magazine is they recommend, if you have Shield Arms S15 magazines, as you can see, this is metal. This magazine catch or notch, if you will, where it seats into place, this will erode your plastic Glock mag release over time. So they recommend that you use an aluminum or metal mag release that you can buy aftermarket. Some people say changing it is very simple. Yes, it's a very simple process. In practice, however, it is a nightmare. It took me a while. If you know anything about how the spring retention system works in the Glock handle, you will know that manipulating that spring in that small space, very challenging, even with you know, a bunch of picks and, you know, supposedly the correct tools. But other than that, I've used this quite a bit. When I carry my 43X, I stick with the 10 round magazine. That's just me. I want to stick with the most, you know, not universal parts. That's not what I'm looking at. But I want the parts that are organic with my everyday carry. Now let's take a closer look at the Glock 43X magazine and the PSA Dagger Micro. We'll just call it the hybrid magazine from now on, because PSA Dagger Micro is, you know, that's just too long. So verdict's still out on how these are going to hold up since they are kind of a hybrid. You got a metal casing here with a plastic front that kind of covers the shroud. So this negates the need for a aluminum magazine release like you would need with the S15. As you can see, they're obviously the same width, same dimension. They both fit in each other's guns respectively. This will fit in the PSA Dagger Micro. This will fit in the Glock 43X. They do not eject as easily, so they do not slide freely out of each other's magazine wells, and we'll get into that in a minute. But in the probably, I don't know, 1,000 or so rounds that I have through this thing, I have not experienced one feeding issue due to the magazine. I think it's feels solid. I expected this to be loose. It is not. It's on there very nice. The follower seems to work really well. And yeah, it seems to be a quality magazine. Again, we'll see how this holds up if this starts to split due to wear and tear or pressure or just general use. We'll be watching that very closely. But again, you know, you take these three magazines, dimensions almost identical. You can see there's a little bit of difference in the canters of each. Try to get these lined up here as close to flush as you can. I would say this is a little, it's not really showing up on camera, but this is a little angled a little bit more forward aggressively than this one. And then this is probably the most vertical or straight up and down, if you will. So as we get into how they release, so here is the Glock 43X with the standard. So obviously ejects nice and clean. Here is the PSA Dagger Micro. A little slower. That could also be due to the fact that these magazines are empty. They do not have rounds in them. So here's the PSA Dagger. Comes out a little more cleanly. I have a regular Dagger as well, and I always thought that the magazine release was a little, I just didn't like it. I didn't think it was as responsive as I would really want it to be. They seem to have fixed this on the Dagger Micro. So now here's the Glock magazine into the PSA Dagger. Actually sliding out all right now. So it wasn't doing that before. But yeah, so there you have it. So here's the Shield Arms S15. Falls right out. Again, we talked about replacing the follower, so I did do that. You can see right here, here is the aluminum follower. You can see the just a little bit different color there. So now the S15 in the Palmetto State Armory Dagger Micro, really pressing down on this. It's not coming out at all. So it feels like it's getting caught up right about here. So yeah, it's right at the very beginning. You can kind of feel that. So don't know if that has to do with the ridge here or, you know, something here in the follower, or excuse me, in the magazine well. But yeah, a little stiff in there. I mean, still comes out but you're definitely pulling it out. It's not ejecting freely. And so now we have the Shadow Systems, or the Gucci Glock, if you will. So while it fits into the Glock, because this is about an inch longer, it cannot latch, it can't seat. You can see the differences in the length of the grip here between the CR920 and the Glock 43X. Now, so this is its proprietary magazine. Shadow Systems is, unabashed when it says that they're proprietary mags. They also have a flush fit that goes right there. I like it because there's a little bit of a finger groove, but my fingers, even on this one, are still a little bit cramped. Even though they have a nice cutout there, it still is a little bit cramped. But as for this thing, yeah, comes right out. Nice ejection. Again, metal magazine, plastic follower, or excuse me, plastic extension on the bottom. They just use their regular flush fit magazine. It says 10 rounds here, but this is a +3 extension. So this gives you 13 rounds in the magazine with the extended magazine. So which one is better? What is the point of this? Well, I don't know that there's one that's better. And what is the point is just letting you know that there are options. It's what you want to do. Again, I told you that if I'm carrying something, I want the most organic parts possible. You saw that I did do some different stuff to my Glock 43X. I don't carry that as much anymore. So I replaced the trigger. I wanted to try a flat face trigger. That was it. And put some extended controls on there. So, it's the pyramid trigger from the Glock store. So sure, it's fine. I just, if I'm carrying it, I want something that's stock. I want something that's organic. So when I carry, I am carrying the Glock factory or OEM magazine with the Glock parts. Shadow Systems, I do like this magazine. I haven't had a problem with the magazine running this gun under the during the 200 round break-in period. That's another story, and I got a video on that. You can watch that, and you will clearly see those issues. None of them had to do with the magazine, however. My verdict on the PSA Dagger Micro is it is too early to tell. Again, I think it's a good magazine. They seem to have a good, solid design. It's not rickety. You don't hear stuff, clacking around in there. You don't hear the spring moving around. So from that aspect, I think they put it together rather well. I think they have a really innovative design for 15 rounds. But, we'll see how this stands up over time. Shield Arms S15, not without issues of its own. So again, as I mentioned, when they first came out, they were having some quality control issues with breakage down here, bottoms of the magazine just exploding out, and, playing 15 pickup with your precious 9mm rounds. So again, it's really just what you're comfortable with, what you train with, and what you want out of your Micro 9. There are plenty of options, and this is just very specific to these. I was going to say 3 platforms because obviously, Shadow Systems, the Glock knockoff, or the Gucci Glock, if you will, but Palmetto State Arms and the Glock 43X, both very, very, very similar platforms, and obviously one taking Glock parts. Just you don't have to be stuck with one thing. But again, you want to minimize what those things are. You want to make it as organic as possible to that weapon system. You want to train with it, and you want to be comfortable with it. You want to understand the reliability, the pros and cons and trade-offs, if you will, of what you're using, so that when it comes down to it, if you have to depend on it, you will have full confidence in its reliability.